Alright, man. Let's get into it. One of my favorite Kanye beats, actually. So let's talk about your man, Kanye the Don. I got notes. This might offend a couple people, obviously. Kanye stands are some of the strangers on the internet, so let's get into it. Kanye West. Kanye West to me is basically Puff Daddy the fucking rapper. Okay, he's Puff Daddy 2.0. This idea that Kanye West is a great hip-hop artist is some of the most laughable shit ever. He has never been nice on the mic. He's never been that guy that hip-hop heads were checking for like that. He's the guy that makes music aimed at casuals, but, you know, tries to orient himself in the real hip-hop space to give himself credibility. He's a pop artist, man. He always has been, okay? I know the game, you know the game, alright? So let me just break it down for you. Why do I say this? Well, honestly, because I'm a hip-hop fan. I've been listening to hip-hop a long time, and I know the tricks by now. I know how this game goes on some level as a fan. Not to talk about people who are in the music business, and I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? On a side note, when Nore was calling Shyheim flunkies, let me load this for a second. He actually was, I mean, it's disrespectful. I would never, you know, call, like, you know, someone a flunky like that, especially someone like Shyheim. I think EFN was bugging, but then again, EFN to me was always kind of corny. I wouldn't call Shyheim a flunky at all, because Shyheim got joints, you know what I'm saying? If you hip-hop head, you know. Those who know, right? But, I mean, the reality of the matter is that Shyheim is not the reason why the Wu is so revered today. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Wu Syndicate and all those guys, nobody gives a fuck about them. Again, I say that respectfully. It doesn't mean that they didn't have one or two decent songs, but they're not the W like that. Let's be real here, okay? Now, again, if I was a rapper in the W and I didn't really make noise like that, would I be able to distance myself and keep it honest? I don't know. That's a tough one. But what I am trying to say by even mentioning this shit is that people in the business know who's really done this shit and who hasn't. You know, and that's why I think it's funny when these like sort of offhand remarks kind of leak out a little bit, and then people go, "Oh my God, how could he say that?" Like, it's like people know, they just, you know, they're just not honest to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. The problem is that nobody's honest about any of this shit, and they rely, you know. Now, me speaking on this shit, I look crazy, but the reality of the matter is that I'm sure people in the business know exactly what I'm talking about, if not more harsh, but they're not gonna say it because they're getting paid, right? I guess that's the game, right? So now, we're talking about Kanye West, okay? Now, I, you know, judge Kanye West from a hip-hop perspective, okay? Always, you know, someone asks me, why you talk about, you know, hip-hop? If you don't like gritty hip-hop, it's not, you know, then you don't care. Well, yeah, to a certain extent, because hip-hop is hard to make, okay? Like, hip-hop is its own thing. And the reality of the matter is that anyone can water down hip-hop, but who can actually make great hip-hop and take hip-hop to another level and introduce new ideas or things and make it even more robust than it was before? That's what I want to know. Because anyone can take watered down, you know, like hip-hop and make it pop, and just about anyone can do that. You know what I'm saying? And I can't really give props for that shit, because the problem with it is that hip-hop at its nature is already sort of derivative of other things. And so when, you know, great hip-hop artists show up, what they do is they make hip-hop less derivative, and they make it more hip-hop. They make it more its own thing, which is why you would listen to it. The problem with someone coming off and being like, well, I'm just gonna, like, you know, water it down, is that it becomes almost like karaoke music, to me anyways. It feels like someone just basically, you know, like, you know, you couldn't do Sly and the Family Stone, so now you are the, like, karaoke version of Sly and the Family Stone, because you're, like, rapping, but your rapping isn't that great, and the beat is softer now, which is, like, back in the, you know, Sly and the Stone direction. But you're not as good as Sly, so it's, you know, it's weird, and like it's too, you know, familiar for pop artists and pop listeners. They can like it because it sounds like some Sly and the Family Stone shit. But to me, I'm listening to it going like, this is whack, because there's no energy, and it's, again, it's retread shit. I've been there before, and if I wanted to listen to this pop version, why would I just not listen to Sly and the Family Stone directly? You know what I mean? So that's why, like, I always say that, you know, if it's not hip hop, man. And I don't care. Like, not to say that, of course, I listen to all kinds of genres. I listen to a lot of stuff. But if you are a so-called hip-hop artist and your stuff isn't really hip-hop, my respect for you is, like, definitely towards the bottom. It's just, it's too easy, man. It's like a fucking cheat code. So this is my issue with Kanye West, because to me, Kanye West has always been an R&B pop artist masquerading in the hip-hop spaces. And how he did it was he essentially tried to combine the streets, which is Jay-Z. He just used the Jay-Z cosign, maybe did a couple tracks here and there for Nas and Mobb Deep as a producer. So he tried to have the street cosign with the conscious community, quote-unquote, cosign, right? Whereas the Common, you have to understand, Common really, put Kanye on the map to a certain extent, right? So Common and Talib Kweli and Mos Def and Hang Around Little Brother and shit like that. Like, that's kind of how Kanye sort of became this artist that melded those two bases. It's, a lot of rap is about who you hang with, unfortunately. I don't think it's always been this way, but I think to a certain extent it probably has been, but it really has become that, especially in the last 20 years or so, which is why this shit has become washed down and garbage, because it's just about, oh, my friend is this guy, so I can get him to say a nice word about me, or I can get him to do a song for me or whatever, and then now I'm on. And as long as I'm around his vicinity as an artist, I can eat. I could be complete garbage, but he has fans, and I just, I'll be the guy that's there next to him, and I'll, get a little crumbs, right? Corny, but, it's a viable actual strategy for a lot of people. So, Kanye to me was a pop artist from jump. I mean, if you look at his album, College Dropout, even Slow Jams, All Falls Down, all that shit's some R&B shit. Like, let's be real here, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know what Kanye was going for when he was making those albums, okay? Like, 5 songs out of that album were like singles. They all charted in like the top 30 of Billboard 100. Like, that's pop shit, okay? Like, let's be honest here. We know what it is. Sing-songy hooks, pop style rapping, very basic. Nothing, that would challenge you on any level. Nothing with any real grit or energy. It's all very sort of like casual and poppy, right? And someone is going to be like, oh, well, that's just Kanye's thing. And, this is the one that kills me. Hip-hop wasn't vulnerable before Kanye came about. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, it's not vulnerable to you because you don't listen to enough rap and you don't know shit about rap. But the greatest artists have always been vulnerable on some level, right? That's what makes them pretty great, you know what I mean? Especially like the Nas's and the DMX's. I mean, people like them, put their real soul into the paper and said things about themselves, you know what I mean, that weren't always like positive or, badass, and got them on our side. So like, rappers always kept it 100. You know what I'm saying? You look at, LL Cool J, I Need Love. You know what I mean? Like, he was being vulnerable, like, and this is in the 80s. So this idea that Kanye West sort of came out the gate and was the only emotionally honest guy is some bullshit. You know what I mean? That's a long-standing myth that I'm sure that, their record label kind of put out there. But honestly, Kanye West is not an emotional dude like that. He's a clout chaser. He's an introverted clout chaser. And, that's not the same thing as being vulnerable, quote-unquote. Brand new, brand new, brand new. Let me talk about this record, actually, since this just has come up, right? This is actually one of my favorite Kanye verses, even though, again, we're talking about Kanye West, man. I was giving him, like, some credit for this. This is brand new. You might see me in the brand new with my brand new bitch. Not brand new shit. This verse is hard, actually. Mad to determines you lied to them highs a motherfucker, flies a motherfucker. Love to hate, but can't, cause you love what I make. And ain't that about a bitch. Now listen. I actually gave Kanye props for that verse back in the day. I was like, you know what? I don't really like this Kanye dude, but this verse, this song, this beat, everything is hard, right? Here's the problem, though. He didn't write that shit, man. How can you tell me that Kanye West is this great artist and he don't even write his own shit? You know what I'm saying? Nigga's not been writing his own shit since pretty much the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? He didn't write that verse. I think Nick Cannon said that he wrote part of it or whatever. Rhymefest probably wrote some of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So you have a guy like Kanye West that doesn't write his own rhymes, really, and then arguably probably doesn't even make his own beats, like not even fully. So what exactly does Kanye West bring to the table? The looks. He has the image. He has the image of that suburban black, comfortable Negro thing going on, right? And I don't like that. It's not hip-hop to me. But you know what? Of course it's attractive because people that want to get into hip-hop but like are kind of put off by the smelly hood, you know what I'm saying, threatening black male, they go for someone like Kanye West, who's basically just going to be telling them about how Ralph Lauren and other white things are the best things on the planet. and propping up white girls and shit like that. That's Kanye West, and that's why he has an audience. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to keep it raw, but that's just what it is. Now, if you have a guy like Kanye West that isn't writing his own beats, or writing his own rhymes, making his own beats, you're Puff Daddy status to me, man. Let's keep it honest. Like, now, does that make Puff Daddy any less of a great sort of contributor to hip-hop? No. I mean, from what I've seen, Puff Daddy has contributed some really good things to hip-hop without a doubt. Talented guy. You can tell that Puff Daddy knows music. You know what I mean? So he's probably helped out in terms of the production and things like that. You know, and I think he actually has a pretty decent rap voice. It's just that, obviously, he's not really a rapper like that. But Kanye West is worse because Kanye West has a worse voice than Puffy. And then on top of that, I don't think his beats are that crazy. I mean, they're dope, but they're not like, damn, I've never heard anything like a Primo crazy. They're not a RZA crazy, Timbaland. So it's like, Kanye's, like I said, you know, at best, he's a B-tier producer. So you have this guy who's supposedly like, you know, this amazing rapper who is like one of the greatest ever, who has this incredible discography, but somehow, you know, because his voice isn't that great and his rhymes are not that great and he doesn't write his rhymes or make his beats, how the fuck is he up there with Nas and Jay and all that? I don't believe that shit. When I see these lists, like, when I see a list and someone that's like greatest rappers, Nas, you know, Jay, Big, Kanye West, that's like saying Nas, Jay, Biggie, Puff Daddy, like, that's how, you know what I mean? And then clearly I'm like, this person doesn't really listen to the first three. He really listens to Kanye, and he wants to legitimize Kanye by putting him in that category. That's really what it is. You know what I mean? So long story short, man, honestly, I gotta be real with you. I don't listen to Kanye. I never have. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when Kanye first came on the scene, I thought Through the Wire was trash. I never even bumped it, honestly. I thought it was really weak. The song that I bumped from Kanye West, and there was only one song back then, was Get 'Em High. And I bumped it because I like Talib Kweli and I like Common. That's it. In fact, actually, there's a version with just Talib Kweli, and that was the version I preferred. When the Common version came about, it was cool, but I think they kind of like changed the beat a little bit, or maybe mastered it or whatever, and it wasn't as like dope to me. That's the album version that comes with Common, but the original one with just Kanye and Talib, that was the joint that I liked, you know? Like, Talib had that line, he's like, you really that high? You fucking for cigarettes or something? Which I remember thinking, I was like, that don't make no sense, but whatever. But I liked that song, and I did think that Kanye was okay. Again, it's not like he was whoa on the shit. It was aight, you know what I mean? But subsequently from there, man, like, Kanye has never really had a song that I'm like, oh my god. You know what I mean? Like, I listened to the one that he came with Young Jeezy doing the ad-libs, Can't Tell Me Nothing or something like that. That was cool. That was actually one of the first times when it actually felt like Kanye was making some like actual hip-hop. And I do think that, I've always said that that's, you know, one of his stronger songs in terms of, you know, like a hip-hop-ish kind of feel. But, I mean, I don't listen to that shit, man. Like, it was cool for that day, or that era. But, you know, I haven't heard that shit in years, so I couldn't tell you. I like Good Morning, though. Actually, I would say that probably my favorite, now, you know, on some positive shit, Good Morning is probably my favorite Kanye West song, period. I could listen to that. I haven't heard it in a long time, but I could actually listen to that shit. Good Morning, Family Business, I always kind of liked. That might be it, you know. But again, these are not in the category of the Tribes and the Mobb Deeps and the De La Souls. Like, I just don't listen to Kanye like that. So, you know, I don't see how he can really be on that pedestal, honestly, if we're keeping it real. It is what it is, man. Let me know what you think. You know, call me a hater if you must. I mean, I'm just trying to give you my honest, unfiltered hip-hop opinions, man. Like, I'm telling you, man, I've seen a lot of in this rap shit. I've seen a lot of dick riding. I've seen a lot of false claims, a lot of hype, a lot of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they, you know, people always try to rewrite history. But the reality of the matter is that people weren't really bumping Kanye like that, man. I mean, before I close out, look up Kanye West Classic, right? There's a version with him edited out. And that one has more views today. You know what I mean? Because, again, it's like, what are you doing on a song with Rakim and Nas and KRS? Like, that's weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to, you know, it's marketing. You're trying to, you know, I don't know if it was Rick Rubin and his people were like, oh, you know, like, it would look good for your image if you're next to them. But, like, we can tell. We're like, you don't belong on this fucking record. Fuck. Peace.